Hello, people, ladies, gentlemen, others. Welcome to another episode of the Creative Differences podcast without Colin. I'm Dallas, aka Creole Fire, and I've come to realize that Kim Pine is my favorite character in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gaby, and I think Scott Pilgrim is the salt of the earth. I mean, the scum of the earth. I really mean the scum.
You said that so cute. It's like the complete opposite of how she says it in the movie.
Oh my god. Oh, that reminds me. Did I tell you the dumb thing I did at work?
What did you do at work?
One of my coworkers was like, I was showing him a TikTok, and he's like, "Do you have that on your phone?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "You should look up how TikTok interacts with your privacy." And I was like, "Okay." And I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh no!" And I deleted it. And then the next day, he was like, "Did you look it up?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, it was terrifying." And I deleted the app, and then I walked away, and all I heard was just like laughing behind me from my coworker and my CO.
Oh, yeah, it was
It
terrifying.
just, oh yeah, it was terrifying.
That sounds like a
It's just
lovely
'cause I was,
interaction.
huh?
That sounds like a lovely interaction.
It was really awkward. I think it's because I was excited that I had looked it up, and I was like, well, I guess I'm just gonna keep going with this like emotion.
I like it. I dig it. Audience, back to you. Today we're talking about Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Happy Throwback Thursday.
Timmy, you can cut out my dumb.
No, that was the fastest we've ever gotten to a tangent, and I kind of want to keep it.
No!
We were like 30 seconds in before even saying what we're talking about, and we already went off the rails. This is going to be a good one.
Gosh, please no.
This is going to be a good episode.
Okay, go ahead, Dallas.
Yes, Scott Pilgrim versus the World came out 10 years ago, today or tomorrow or yesterday or whatever the 13th is. I don't know days anymore. It's a pandemic. It was directed and written by Edgar Wright, the director and writer of the Cornetto trilogy, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End. They're all dope. Also, Baby Driver for you Americans out there.
Yes.
It was also written with Edgar Wright by Michael Bacall, who wrote Project X, 21 Jump Street, and 22 Jump Street. This is also the only Edgar Wright movie that's rated PG-13 in the US. He likes to have Simon Pegg and Nick Frost cuss a lot.
That's totally cool.
Yeah, it's fun. And then, the people in Baby Driver also cuss a lot.
That's true.
And Kevin Spacey's in it, and you can't let kids see Kevin Spacey.
Oh, no.
Anyway.
No. You got to keep them away.
Gaby, do you
Yes.
remember your first time watching this movie?
I do, actually. One of my friends in college was like, "You haven't seen Scott Pilgrim." And then we went out into the forest and came back, and we watched Scott Pilgrim.
I'm sorry, wait, what?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Where did the forest come into that story?
Sorry, because in college I lived in Santa Cruz, and Santa
Yes.
Cruz is in the middle of a redwood forest. And a lot of RAs, their policy is, I will not chase you into the forest if you're going to be doing trees and things, smoking
Yes.
trees. So we went into the forest, and then we came back and watched Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, weed.
Yes,
Okay.
smoked some trees
Just
in the
like,
trees.
oh, let's
We
watch this
smoked some
movie.
trees.
Cool. First, we're gonna go to the forest for
Yeah,
unspecified
to
reason.
like smoke trees and amongst the trees. And then we came back, and I watched this movie, and oh my god, it was a lot for my mental state at the time.
I can imagine this movie's a lot when you're sober.
I was like, oh my god, he's banging his head against the thing, and it's making the sound.
Oh my god.
But it made me like immediately love this movie. What
Yes.
about you?
First time I watched this movie was with an evil ex. Haha, just kidding.
Haha, no, you're not. You're
Haha,
not
just
wrong.
kidding. Moving on. But yeah, movie came out right after we finished high school. So
Oh,
I didn't see it in.
did?
Yeah, it came out in 2010.
Oh,
It's
I
10
thought
years
we
old.
were still in high school.
Nope,
Never mind.
August.
Continue.
But yeah, I didn't get to see it in theaters, unfortunately, but I saw it at some point later. But it was amazing. I was like, yo, this is dope. Edgar Wright, you're that dude. Because I saw Shaun of the Dead around the same time.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was like, okay, Edgar Wright's that guy. It was dope. I love it.
Funny, I'm the only one.
Oh my god. Hi, Demi.
Funny, I'm the only one who saw it in theaters.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to go outside in high school, and this was still around that time, so I didn't get to see it in theaters.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if my so sorry, if my parents didn't want to see something in theaters, then I wouldn't get to see it. So this was one of those.
Fair. Although you were in college, running through the forest.
Oh yeah, but I was nowhere near my family at that point. Like once but it was a good like It was sometime in 2011 when I saw it. I didn't see it
Makes sense.
even
Makes
in
sense.
the year
Makes
it
sense.
came out.
Demi, do you want to tell the people about the first time you saw it since you're here?
Honest to God, I wish I could tell you the specific details. I just know that I saw it when it came out in theaters. I think I might have gone to Universal City Walk to go see it with friends.
Nice.
That's a good trip.
Because unlike Gabby, I used to go to the movies with my friends a lot.
Yeah, I was not allowed outside. They were like, no, not for you.
Not for
Actually,
you.
no, I was allowed outside if it was a school sanctioned event. So that's why I was involved in so many things in high school, because it was the only way that I would get to hang out with people my own age on a Friday night.
Gabby is
That's so
making
weird
me
to me.
Huh?
sad. I said, Gabby, you're making me
Yeah,
sad.
right?
So let's just move
I
on.
was about to say.
Sorry. I
I was
was
like,
an
me and
indoor
my
cat.
friends used to like make plans for like, oh, Friday after school, we'll just hit the train and then we'll walk to the movie theater and go see this movie. Like, that's like sad, Gabby.
I did not. No, I had to beg to go over to a friend's house after school.
You're all
Yeah.
very different people.
Oh, we were. I'm a lot better now. Although, like, because I live so close to my parents, like, if they'll see me leave and then they'll text me, like, where'd you go? I'm like, bitch, like, I'm almost 30.
I'm almost 30.
They'll be like, you've been gone all day. Where are you? I'm out. Like,
You are out. You are out.
next question.
Yes. Questions. We're going to talk about the story.
Okay, so Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is about Scott Pilgrim, who must defeat his new girlfriend's 7 evil exes in order to win her heart.
Okay, so if I do have one complaint about this movie, it is something that it kind of shares in common with a lot of rom-coms, which is a big reason why I don't like rom-coms. Sorry, Gabby. Is that they often start with someone who's in a relationship and then they cheat on that person with the person that the movie says they're supposed to be with. I always hate that trope because like this is most often the persons that we're supposed to identify with, even though we all know Scott Pilgrim is trash as a person.
Oh, he's definitely 100% trash.
But it's just like, can we not have the protagonist cheat all the time? But yeah, other than that, I love this movie. Do you like the story?
I do. It's very simple. I think it was smart of them. Well, okay, here's the thing. Scott Pilgrim is based off of a graphic novel series.
Yes.
I actually read the graphic novels before I actually saw the movie. One of the guys that lived next door to me in college was like, just had them on his computer. And I was like, what's that? And he's like, oh my God, it's amazing. And he handed me his laptop and like, let me read them.
Nice.
So that was my experience before I actually saw the movie. And then he told me, if you're going to see the movie, the last graphic novel wasn't made yet. So the story wasn't over before they started making the movie. So they end differently. And I can't remember how the graphic novels end.
Well, I know the movie originally, or I've heard that the movie originally was going to end with him getting back with knives. And then audiences were like, nah, man, what about Ramona? We just watched this whole thing. So he would end up with Ramona. And then Edgar Wright was like, okay, fine, we'll change it. Honestly, I'm glad they changed it because Knives is too good for Scott.
They're both too good for Scott.
Yeah, she's also 17.
She's also 17. Yes. Well, by the end of the movie, she might be 18 because she was going to have a birthday dinner. It's a whole thing.
Oh, that's true. But I don't care.
Yes.
He shouldn't end up with her.
No, definitely not.
Especially not with somebody his age, like right there.
This movie has a lot of bad relationships.
It does.
Like Scott cheats on Knives. Envy cheated on Scott. Knives uses young Neil to get back at Scott.
Yep.
It's just...
We've all been there.
Basically, all of Ramona's relationships are just bad.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot.
Yeah. But I, like, simple story-wise, I'm glad they went with the simple plot point just because it makes it so that they can do all those outlandish things in it, and we're not lost or bogged down with plot. It's just like this dude has to fight 7 dudes so he could be with this girl he likes, and that's it.
There's only 6 dudes. One of them is a woman.
Oh, sorry. Also, when I first saw the description for this movie, I was like, what? What does that mean? What? Like, why?
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be like, if you just think about it for what it is, then it's exactly what the movie is, but you don't think that a movie would do that.
Also, like, what kind of world is this? Like, in my head, I'm like, is this like medieval times? What is this? And also, I feel like this movie wasn't marketed very well. Like, it wasn't marketed to like a video game audience. It was marketed to like, I don't know, like maybe an action movie or a kids movie, I think. Which is probably why it didn't do well. It's definitely 100% not. It's definitely a movie for people that just really like video games.
Unless you're Colin. Because Colin loves video games and hates this movie.
That's true, but he understood all the references.
Colin hates any movie that makes like video game references almost.
Yeah, but I don't think that's why he hated this movie.
No, it's not why he hates this movie, but to be fair.
To be fair, yeah, Colin's hard to please. I don't hate this movie. I love it. And I'm
Me
going to use
too.
the story section to just talk about some of my favorite bits of the writing that Edgar Wright does.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
The movie's like hilarious from the jump, but then half an hour in, it turns hilarious with some really dope action. Because once Patel shows up, I can't remember his first name, sorry.
Matthew Patel.
Is it Matthew? Yes, it is Matthew. Because the guy who wrote it, he got the idea because the woman he was with, who he might have married, she had 3 exes named Matthew. So he thought about like the idea of like a league of evil Matthews. But then, that's a even sillier premise. So he just created 7 exes. And I guess the first one stayed Matthew.
Is this like the original writer of the comics?
I think so. Brian Lee O'Malley.
About right.
But yeah, like Matthew shows up and then it's like, oh, Scott knows how to fight for some reason.
So I think that's a great thing in the movie, and they did that like on purpose. I've like recently watched like a little featurette on the action on this movie, and they were like, yeah, so we wanted it to be like they start fighting, and then you're like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden, Michael Cera knows how to fight, which is a surprise to the audience, but also we wanted it to be a surprise to everybody around him, right?
Yeah. My favorite part of that scene is Anna Kendrick, Stacy Pilgrim, because Patel shows up and Anna Kendrick is just looking at everybody like, does everybody think this is weird too? Like, what's going on?
Right.
And then during the actual fight, like during his Bollywood dance number, which is great, she's like, what? She says it out loud to no one in particular just because she's so confused. It was great.
Which I related to super hard the first time I watched this because I was like, what is going on?
But yeah, before I move on to the characters, I also love the expectation subversion at the end. One with like, you think, oh, he's fighting for love, that's gonna make him win, but it's like, no, you have to fight for yourself because fighting over a girl is not always gonna get you where you need to be. And then also when Nega Scott shows up and you think they have to fight and then they just become best friends.
Yes, I love that.
That was beautiful.
Also, I love that they didn't show that battle because at that point I was like, I'm so tired of fighting. Like, are we still we're about to have another fight? Yeah. And then it was like, just kidding, Gaby, you're free. And
I felt so great. It's like, we just beat everybody. We have to fight again. And then it's like, no, he's talking about waffles and going to breakfast on Tuesday.
So good. And also, this is also one of my favorite parts is the like running gag with Wallace's bed where there's just like just dudes in this bed. And also how I love how close Scott and Wallace are. And also that Wallace stole Stacy's boyfriend. That was hilarious to me. She was like, Wallace, stop. And she's like, Wallace, again.
Wallace is a hoe. Gaby.
Wallace is a big hoe. Yes.
Who's your favorite character? And why is it not Scott?
Oh, God, this is so hard. And why is it not Scott? It's not Scott because Scott sucks.
Exactly.
My favorite. Oh, that's so hard. Oh, jeez.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start with mine.
Wallace.
Oh, you got one.
Okay. Yeah, probably Wallace and then Lucas Lee because reasons.
Of course, we know the reasons.
Yes, but you go ahead.
So my favorite is Kim Pine, the drummer, because she so consistently from the beginning of the movie calls Scott out on his nonsense. Because like the voice, aka Bill Hader, who's great, says Scott Pilgrim is dating a high schooler, and then all his friends are asking him about it, and Kim is just like, "How old are you now, Scott? Like 28?" And it's exactly the kind of thing I would say.
Yep.
To someone my age dating a high schooler.
I mean, didn't we have someone in our friend group do that?
Moving on.
We were like, what are you doing?
So, and then she says, Scott, if your life had a face, I would punch it. And it's just like, some of the things she says, you just feel like, Kim is mean and she wants to insult him. But then she says, are you really happy or are you really evil? And it's like, that's a good point. Are you happy with this teenage girl or are you using her as like a comfort rebound, which is terrible to do for a person, especially one who's a high school girl.
Yep.
But I was like, yeah, Kim is on it. She has some of my favorite lines. Like when Scott says later, can't we do our own secret shows? And Kim says,
just like all of our shows are secret shows.
And she has that perfect deadpan delivery.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. And you know what's even more amazing is like it was Alison Pill doing it, and at the
Yes.
time, Alison Pill was just like this like sweet little white girl in movies, and she didn't really have any kind of a dark like I'd never seen her play a dark character. It was usually very sweet.
Yeah.
And so seeing her just be deadpan and grumpy was like, this is interesting.
I loved it. And she's a good actress too, because like that last bit where he apologizes to her and there's like the subtlest hint of a smile kind of. It's like really subtle. It's like, look at you, Alison Pill. You're doing your thing.
Dude, this whole cast is really stacked. Let's talk about it.
It is. Brie Larson, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Michael Cera, Jason Schwartzman, Kieran Culkin, Ellen Wong, Chris Evans, Brandon Routh, Mae Whitman, Aubrey Plaza, Bill Hader. There's so many people.
Yeah, every time I watch this, I'm like, oh my God, there's another person. Oh my God, there's another person. And what was interesting is a lot of these people were in this movie before they had the big recognition that they have now.
Yeah, like 10 years ago, these names did not mean the same that they do now. Like Brie Larson is very different 10 years like now than she was when this movie came out.
It's true.
Although ironically, this might be my favorite role for Brie Larson because of the way she plays it. It's so ridiculous.
Okay, here's the thing. This is my favorite Chris Evans performance ever.
I can see that's very funny.
Gabby, can I tell you something?
Yes.
His voice in this movie reminds me of Ben Stiller's voice in Dodgeball.
Dude, it's just so good.
It's hilarious.
He's so good in this movie. Okay.
Oh my God, it does.
Oh,
that's actually hilarious.
That's actually hilarious. Oh, he's so good. Oh, dude. First of all, his entrance is like chef's kiss.
With the universal music.
Oh, dude. And then he cracks his neck to like the sound. And then also I timed it from the time his fight starts to time it ends. It's literally 5 minutes. And I always make the joke that this is my favorite performance of Chris Evans, even though it's for like all 5 minutes of his performance. And like this time it was like literally like, it's literally 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
The fight, because he's in the movie a little bit before that.
Yeah.
While they're like kind of introducing you to this character that Wallace has a crush on. But then no, like his fight scene's actually just like 5 minutes long. And I was like, wow. But it's just so good. And it made me wish he was like a character in the whole movie instead of just like those 5 minutes, because he's just so ridiculous but just so funny and great.
He's like so over the top in the way that he gives his lines. Like he smacks Scott and then goes to Ramona. He's like, "What's up? How's life? He seems nice." And then just picks him up.
No, my favorite bit is he's like, "The League of Equal Exes," and he's like, "The what? You really don't know about the League?" And he's like, "No, I don't know about the League." And he's like, "Oh man, that's okay. That's all right. Get up." And then let's go. Just like punches him in the face. Oh God.
Just like for some random reason, when Scott says, "I heard you're a pretty good skater," he says, "I'm more than pretty good, essay." And I'm like, why did you call him that?
Oh, he'd been doing like ombre, essay, all that stuff the whole time.
That's so weird to me.
Like I watched it just now and I was like, is this dude? Oh, he is. He's just going to do that the whole time. So I don't know.
But yeah, this movie has too many amazing characters for us to go through all of them.
No,
I just want to say
a few of our favorites.
My favorite characters are Stacey Pilgrim.
She's hilarious.
Because at that point, I just love Anna Kendrick. She's great.
Yeah.
Envy Adams, because she's awesome.
Perfect.
And Ramona Flowers.
Oh, Ramona. I love Ramona too.
Yes, she has very questionable judgment, but she's pretty badass.
She has a bad picker, and I just feel bad for her. Just a horrible picker.
Yeah, she has terrible taste in
After
men.
Scott's constant red flag behavior, she invites him into her house, and it's like, this dude has been nothing but a creep since you met him. Stay away from this man. But it works out in the end because they're happy or whatever.
Yeah. You know what I also like is the relationship between Wallace and Stacey Pilgrim, like the phone thing.
How like even if he's not conscious, he has his phone in his hand.
It's gold. It's gold.
There's so much in this movie to talk about.
So much.
But we have a favorite aspect section that we can come back to and talk more about the characters, because there's a lot to talk about with the visuals too and the sound.
Oh my God. Let's get into it. This movie is a masterclass in transitions. Let's talk about those.
Yes. I love the scene and the shot transitions are amazing. Like some of my favorites are when Scott first sees Ramona and he keeps getting distracted.
Yes.
And then
where he's like, where are we going?
In and out of like band practice. And he's like, what are we doing? He's like, Scott, You played one note for that entire song.
Yes.
He's like, I'm sorry, what are we doing? And then they're walking. And then
Yes.
Finley's like, we're going to this party. And it's just so good.
Now imagine watching that high. You're just like, what just happened?
That would be tough.
Oh my God. It just made me appreciate it more though, because it was just very like jarring.
Yeah. And like the first time that we see Envy in person, she's standing in front of her poster dressed exactly like it.
Yeah.
So it's like, it looks like the poster, and then she just walked out of it. And I'm like, oh my God.
It's so good.
This movie's so good. I love, like, Edgar Wright is so dope.
Yep.
It's the kind of movie where the shots don't need to make sense. They just have to be funny.
Yeah.
Like every time someone else says Scott's hair is shaggy, he has a hat on in the next shot when he comes back to him.
Yep, it's great. I really like the one where it's like the bell ringing and or like he says no, and then like transitions into about bell ringing, and then you follow the nose. I like that scene.
All of the like onomatopoeia words on screen that make it feel like a graphic novel.
Yeah. Yes, I love that. What else? Oh, you know the scene. The visuals. Whenever they do like the name and like their information right next to them, I like that.
Oh, I love that.
Or
the little boxes for like the intro.
And then like Wallace's room, like where it just tells you everything Wallace owns.
Wallace, Scott. But
that is actually from the comic.
Yeah, it looks like it. I've seen some of the comic. I haven't read it yet, but I want to. But just like the way they use those little boxes to kind of establish like the character Como, the one who knows everybody.
Como. Yes.
Como,
I love that. Como.
Like it says like Como knows everyone. And then Scott shows him this ridiculous drawing. It's like, you know a girl with hair like this? He's like, oh yes, that's Ramona Flowers.
Also, that's also from the comic. That like drawing of Ramona.
Yeah. Apparently they were going to use a picture of Ramona from the comic, but then Edgar Wright thought it'd be funnier to just use that ridiculous little drawing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was great.
Funnier.
I love that Aubrey Plaza's character, Julie, her little intro box just says has issues.
Yup. And also the thing she does with her
my God, when she bleeps herself.
Mouth. Yeah. Oh, okay. Also, little thing. When they did the script reading recently, Aubrey Plaza put like a little black piece of paper on a stick and put it in front of her face.
That's amazing.
And it was so good. Oh God.
Yeah, it's like so good because it's the kind of thing that like, you know, obviously you would think that's not diegetic. Only we can see that. But then Scott's like, how are you doing that with your mouth?
Yes.
She was so good.
And it's a great way to establish that this is some sort of like fantasy world where anything's possible, because at that point we hadn't even seen the most ridiculous thing, which was like the vegan powers, right? We hadn't gotten up to that.
Yeah, we hadn't seen that.
I feel like they just like
any of this. Like we hadn't seen the Bollywood fight. No, because that's when. Oh yes, this is in the coffee shop.
Yeah,
it's like her third job. I forgot. I was thinking of the record store, her other job.
I feel like it's just a great way to like up the ante on the world, right? Like it's not just like Scott in a fight that has powers. It's like this random person at a coffee shop has powers. So like what else can this world bring, right? And then the vegan powers come in and they seem way less ridiculous.
Oh, I love the vegan police. I'm gonna get to that when we get to our favorite aspects.
Okay, great.
Because I still want to talk about some of the visuals.
Alrighty.
Another scene transition when they get to the battle with the twins. And Steven is like, we're going on at the same time. And Scott says, that's impossible. And the next shot just says, actually, no.
You know what I like is when they were going to have the first battle of the bands, this transition. And like Ramona's like, where is it going to be? And then Scott goes, it's at and then the next scene is just the rocket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The transitions are great.
So good. And so abrupt. And you're just like, whoa, okay.
Yes,
okay,
I love it.
I see you.
But also, speaking of sound, the music is dope.
The music for this is amazing. It's like, this is going to sound stupid, but it's true. It's like, you know how the Twilight soundtracks were just like really good for no reason? It's like that. It's like, why is this amazing?
Apparently Beck did a lot of the music.
He did. He did all the Sex Bomb stuff.
Yes. And then Metric wrote the Clash of Demon Head song, Black Sheep.
Yeah, I think that was already one of their songs, and then they just let the movie use it.
Yeah, I think they were like making it at the same time, but not for the movie.
Yeah,
because Brie Larson was singing, right?
Yep, that's her. She actually was in a girl group in her Disney Channel days. They put her in like a little girl group.
That's their
So
thing.
she actually has like CDs out
Oh,
from
nice.
that point in time. Yeah. So she's like a really, really good singer.
But yeah, I love her version of that song and that scene. Like every time the guitar hits, they have a close up on one of the characters,
Mm-hmm.
and like they show Todd like mad dogging Scott from the stage, but it
Yep.
just hits so much harder with the guitar.
Yep.
But let's talk about our favorite stuff.
Oh, can I mention one more thing about the visuals?
Please do.
Because I read the comic, I knew like what all their outfits were, and their outfits are basically from the comic book,
Oh, that's dope.
including Envy's outfit from the performance. Like that's exactly what her character was wearing in the comics. And
That's
when I
awesome.
first saw that, I was like, this is awesome. Like, especially because the shoes were really cool in the comic. And I was like, I want to see those shoes in real life. And then the movie was like, here you go, Gabby. These are the shoes in real life. And I was like,
Here are the shoes.
and she's wearing like an armband in the comic and it's there. Ugh, so great. So amazing.
I don't know what my favorite aspects of the movie are specifically, so I'm just trying to use this time to talk about everything I didn't get to talk about with the characters.
Yes, go ahead.
But I want to start with Todd because he actually is one of my favorite parts of this movie. Like the fact that being vegan gives you psychic powers. And like it's funny because in this world, it's just an established fact because Steven says he always wondered why vegans have psychic powers.
Yeah.
So it's not just like Todd is like this, like anyone who's vegan has psychic power.
Yeah.
It's so great. Like he is a terrible person. Like he punches knives for no reason.
Yeah.
But the way he plays it is so great. And the vegan police are probably my favorite thing in this movie.
So stupid, but so great. And also that's from the comic too.
I'm so glad that's from the comic. Like he's just reading his offenses. Gelato isn't vegan?
Chicken parm isn't vegan?
Chicken isn't vegan?
And the freaking Envy's reactions.
You eat chicken.
Also, remember, okay, so at this, I wish I'd seen this at the time too, because when this movie came out, being vegan wasn't really something that was mainstream like it is now.
Yeah.
It was very on the fringes. Like you kind of, it's very extreme people that were vegan, right?
Yeah, you could have told me that vegans have psychic powers back then and I would have believed you probably.
That sounds,
I didn't know any vegan.
All right. Right. Yes, you did. You did know a vegan. Remember in high school?
Oh, was he vegan?
He was so vegan.
Oh.
He turned vegan like from junior year to senior year, like overnight. He read a book and then he was like, I can't do dairy anymore or meat over a weekend in the summer. And then we came back and he was like preaching veganism to all of us. And I was like, no one cares. No one wants to be vegan. That became like his whole personality. And then for like Mr. Smith's class, we had to do like a product. And we did Activist Away, and he was like the vegan.
Oh my god, that's so amazing!
Stupid.
But yeah,
yeah. So he was vegan, and I wish I'd seen this movie when I knew him because I would have like clowned him super hard. I'm like, yo, like you got psychic powers.
Honestly,
Christian.
if you would have told me in high school that he had psychic powers, I'd be like, yeah, he may. Seemed like that kind of dude who would just have it and not say anything.
Oh yeah, he also seemed like that kind of dude. He was like randomly talented and stuff, and then he'd just show up and be like, "Look at what I made," and I'd be like, "Who are you?"
But yes, back to the movie.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
This is good. I enjoyed that little tangent. I forgot that he was vegan. But Todd, freaking Todd, even his banter is ridiculous.
Dude,
like
yes,
when he says, "Tell it to the cleaning lady
on Monday."
He's like, "Because you'll be dust." He's like,
and she does.
He's like, "What's on Monday?" And he's like, "Well, it's Friday now. It's just the weekend's off, so Monday, right?" I love that.
And he's super dumb. He's so dumb.
Yes, I love. He's great.
When Envy goes, "You're incorrigible," and he goes, "I don't know the meaning of the word." And then it was like, he doesn't.
He really doesn't.
So Todd was great. Okay, Lucas Lee, I'll be my favorite.
Of course.
Okay, so they recently did that like script reading, right? And Chris Evans, who knows why Chris Evans, because he's like the biggest star that came out of that, I think.
I can see that.
But he like made time for this. Like he had to leave like right after his part, but he like made time to be there. And I didn't realize how much of a transformation it was from like normal Chris Evans. Because like normal Chris Evans was like in the corner waiting for his time the whole time. And he was like cuddling up with his dog and hanging out. And then when it was almost his turn, he like put his dog outside. He sat on the couch and then like as soon as it was his turn, his like eyebrows changed. Like he like, and then the voice came in. I was like, oh shit, he's acting right now. I was like,
Oh my
damn. But I just didn't realize how much like the physical choices he made just for that character completely changed his face. I was like, oh wow. And
Yeah.
he was having a lot of fun too from the couch. Like he was like moving around a lot and like, yeah, you can tell he's having a lot of fun. I think that's
Speaking
also
of-
why I like that character too now.
He was great. Speaking of great characters who are ridiculous, Roxy, the one ex who is a woman,
Oh my
is
god.
first off, I
Oh,
was super
God.
excited because she's from Arrested Development and like it's a little reunion for her and Michael Cera.
Yeah.
But her lines are so like they shouldn't work for me, but they do because she just gives it 100%.
hmm
When-
She's also Katara.
yes, Mae Whitman. Shout out to Mae Whitman. When Ramona says, I was a little bi-curious, and she says, well, honey, I'm a little bi-furious.
Furious.
And she calls Ramona a has-been.
Oh
Which
yeah, that
I was
was
like,
that
oh.
was like chef's kiss.
I was like, these lines are so...
Has been. They're
they're
so
so dumb.
bad. They're so bad. They're so
She's
dumb.
like, next time I'll be deadly serious next time. He's like, what? She's like, never mind. Just flows away.
Yep. Oh god, so good, so ridiculous.
And then she just nuts so hard that she dies.
I didn't make that connection for the longest time.
Oh,
Not
really?
until you pointed it out, I think. And then I was like, what?
What do you think was happening to her?
I thought he just hit her in a weak spot and then she was like, ow. And then she like, whatever.
You think it's weird that she said you'll never be able to do this to her?
See, I didn't connect that. No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, he touches her and then she nuts and then blows up into coins
God.
because this is a ridiculous
Fantastic.
movie. But yeah, favorite aspects is pretty much everything except for Scott and the fact that every relationship is pretty much terrible. So,
Yeah, they're all pretty tough.
Hey guys.
yes, Demi has a question for us, right?
Yeah, so usually we do feature the franchise. I don't think there is a feature for this franchise. So I want to ask you guys a different question.
Okay.
What's your favorite Edgar Wright movie?
Oh, probably Scott Pilgrim versus the World. if I'm being
This is my favorite Edgar.
Ooh.
When I first saw this, Shaun of the Dead was my favorite Edgar Wright movie, and sometimes I like bounce back and forth. But really thinking about it, this is my favorite Edgar Wright movie.
Yeah, it's got to be Baby Driver for me. Love that movie.
We knew that.
Yeah, you didn't even tell
I
us.
mean,
She knew
yeah, I
somebody
watched
in
Scott
college
Pilgrim
didn't know.
twice this weekend, and like I didn't like it as much as when I first saw it.
Yeah, there's some pieces of it that haven't aged well. I was like, ooh, maybe not
Yeah,
bad.
I came to the realization that I like the aesthetic of the movie more than I like the movie itself.
That's fair.
It has a great aesthetic.
Yeah, I wish
yeah.
more movies were like this one.
But yeah, I love it, and it is my favorite Edgar Wright movie, and just one of my favorite movies because I love it so much.
But my close second is probably Hot Fuzz.
That's a good one. Kayla really likes Hot Fuzz, like
Hot Fuzz is
more than I
amazing.
would expect her to, because it's super stupid and like very violent, and that's not
I
really
think-
her type of thing. But she's really into it.
It's probably because the main character is really competent. He's really good at his job.
Yeah, he's
So everybody around him can be an idiot, but you know that you're still grounded with somebody intelligent. Because like that's why I really liked it. Because I expected like, you know how in Shaun of the Dead he's like, whatever, like we'll we're just gonna go around and then we'll be back here on Tuesday like having another pint or whatever.
Yeah.
And like Hot Fuzz is like, no, I'm the best at my job and I take this very seriously. And I was like, yes.
It was fun to see him like that.
Yeah. So I liked it. And
Oh.
also I just really like Simon Pegg. He's
great.
He's one of my favorites.
Well, yeah. Anything you want to add before we outro this?
I love this movie. Please watch it. It's on Netflix.
It is on Netflix. Should have told you that in the beginning, guys. It's on Netflix. That's where we watched it. We love the movie, except for Colin, but he's not here, so it doesn't count. Audience, thank you for listening to all of that. Let us know what you think of this movie. Who's your favorite character? Who's your least favorite character? And why is it Scott?
For real.
Thank you, Crown Digital, Brandon, and Io for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you to me for editing and putting us on YouTube. Gabby, thank you for sharing my enthusiasm for this amazing movie.
You're welcome, homie.
If you want to talk to us about video games, Scott Pilgrim, or any evil exes you may have, you can find us on the medias. We're on Twitter at y'all_different, on Instagram and Tumblr at Creative Differences Podcast. And we're on Facebook. You can actually find us on Facebook.com/Creative Differences PC for podcast, not PC, whatever. And you can find me personally on Twitter and Instagram at A King Named Simba.
You can find me, Gabby, on the Instagrams at Stegosaurus.
All right, I'm going to tell you guys where you can find Colin. On Twitter, It's Nega Colin, but it has a weird spelling. It's Nigga Colin.
Dallas!
All one word. That's how Colin chose to spell his Twitter name.
Dallas.
But yeah, it's been different. Bye.